Welcome back into another calibrated Ukraine battle map update. Today is November the 6th, 2025. With me today is the one, the only Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I just wanted to clear something up for my audience because I made a mistake last time Alex was on. I said that I was going to put his information in the description of the video. Alex later told me that he did not want that up at this time. So that is not available for you guys. Sorry about that. And I'm sorry that I mentioned it in the last episode. I saw a lot of comments, you guys asking about it. But Alex, thank you for joining me today. And we have a ton of Ukraine map updates to go over. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let me make this bigger. Okay. Actually, we might do it like that because that looks a little bit better. All right. We'll start up here in the north. So in the north, in the Vovochansk area, the battle for the city of Vovochansk seems like it is coming to an end. We have a Russian advance in the southern edge of the city, basically to the main intersection, the main logistics line into the city of Vovochansk itself. And then in this Kharkov incursion, we have a separate advance on the very eastern edge of the incursion zone, on the northern edge of the Vovocha River. So nothing extremely important, but just another advance by the Russian forces.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
No, but well, actually, I think they're gonna. You see the forest. You've got the Vulture River, and it runs like south towards Kharkov.
Yeah.
I did hear, and
The
I don't know like how
Superdonetsk.
trustworthy. Oh yeah, this verse
Yeah.
yeah, because it
It
turns into the
switches.
Vulture.
Yeah, it changes.
I did read from some like source. I don't know how trustworthy they are, but apparently the Russians' main goal is to actually push down the forest rather than elsewhere.
Into the center.
Yeah, apparently, but I don't know. They just said that there's reserves being pulled into there, so
I mean, that makes
that might
sense.
just be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it makes sense just because I think the Russians have had a lot of success pushing down rivers on their side, like a barrier on their side. We saw the same thing over here on the Oskil, where they've just basically they haven't pushed out, they've just pushed down, and that has resulted in the capture of the western half of Kupiansk. So,
Yeah.
all right. Moving over to the northern Oskil bridgehead. It's not really the Oskil bridgehead anymore because, it's connected to this larger incursion from Russian territory, as well as being connected to Russian territory itself. So it's not necessarily a bridgehead anymore, but it has expanded. Russian forces have reached the edge of Dovichanske. And then down here in Kamyanka, they have advanced on the western edge of that. So this is beginning to develop into another sort of salient for the Ukrainians here, especially back in this pocket, although this might be gray zone by this point.
Yeah, and I mean, as they kind of push further in, it's going to get faster because I think the main issue here is they never had the sort of strategic depth um, to kind of develop a proper offensive. But this area is going to go pretty fast, I think. The entire corner north of Kupiansk, that's very forested. And as we've seen, recent Russian tactics involves mostly infantry, since the prevalence of drones has kind of made mechanized assaults a lot more. They're a lot more weather dependent. They have to kind of wait until the weather is bad and drones can't fly.
Yep.
So the amount of forest here is going to really improve the Russians' ability to move, since all their infantry will just be able to kind of flow through these concealed areas.
Yeah.
So I think this area is going to fall pretty fast. And this might just be another huge front for the Ukrainians to hold, which I think we mentioned that last time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have my I have my prediction here just so you guys can kind of see what Alex is talking about exactly in this region. This yellow line here, this pocket up here is what he's talking about. The Ukrainians having a difficult time defending, and particularly this area over here where there's a lot of forested area. The Russians should be able to move through that pretty quick, kind of like what we're seeing right here. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that it's first and foremost difficult because all of the logistics basically have to come in through this area right here, which makes supplying this a very difficult task, especially if the Russians can just focus fire on the few logistics routes into this pocket. So I do think that this area is ripe for Russian advance. And, considering how bad the manpower situation is for Ukraine, how bad the UAV operator situation is for Ukraine, we could see this area begin to move even quicker than we're seeing it move now.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned about the UAV operators. They're not only just having manpower issues with like infantry, but yeah, they're having shortages with drone operators now. So I
Yeah.
mean, the main thing that they were relying on, which were drones, they're not even going to be able to rely on that anymore.
Yep.
So
And
so I
as
mean,
I've
it's
said,
really a catastrophe.
yeah, it is the one thing holding the Ukrainian line together, especially with the manpower shortage. One UAV operator does the work of like 100 men at this point in terms of keeping the Russians back. All right.
All right.
We will, we will
What's the
move
next
down
area?
to the nothing happening in the Liman area right now. There are some Russian advances here, but I haven't had clear geolocations to update them or clear reporting to update them. So those will be available in the next update. Moving down to the Konstantinivka front, we just have a very small update here. A deeper Russian geolocation in Konstantinivka itself. If you look at Ukrainian maps, like pro-Ukrainian maps, all of this is gray zone, which it's hard for me to recognize this as gray zone when it's 1, 2, 3 city blocks deep lengthways, which is close to a mile basically, a couple kilometers. And if you look back here, you can see these large fortified trench lines, which I'm sure the Russians are using as the staging point to push into this edge of Konstantinivka. So I do think the Ukrainian maps are a little understating what's happening here, but I will be honest, I think my map is slightly overstating Russian control. It's just based off of geolocations we've had. So we've had Russians geolocated here and out here and down in here. So, this area is probably predominantly gray zone right here. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't entirely blame them though. I mean, it would be pretty upsetting to have to admit something so bad.
Yeah.
Pokrovsk is about to fall, and Myrnograd, and in an encirclement no less,
Yeah.
and Konstantinivka is about to be, fully fought or already is being fought over. So really, they're gonna have to, come up with some good news in the sense that the Russians are advancing a bit slower than we want them to.
And
They will.
another big thing that's about to happen, which I don't think anybody's really talked about, is the fact that the T0504 highway that runs from Bakhmut all the way down to Pokrovsk and then further on into Mazova, further on into Provozhnaya. That highway will now be under full Russian control. So the Russians are going to gain basically a streamlined logistics line from Bakhmut all the way down to Pokrovsk. And I think once that happens, we're going to see the Russians explode out into this area behind Kramatorsk.
Yeah, that will help a lot because, I mean, really getting to the front line, or close to the front line with vehicles, they're mostly doing it on dirt tracks and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it'll just simplify things a lot.
Absolutely. Simplify things. And then, it's not just about simplification, I would say. Uh, the biggest issue we regularly see with Ukraine, whether it's the Russians or the Ukrainians in terms of logistics, is the immense amount of farm fields and lack of roads. So roads are so important. That's why I've put so much emphasis on Orehiv and Holyai-Polye, these crossroad villages. Same with Pokrovsk, same with Pokrovsk, which is falling. Same with Konstantinivka. But the access to the roads are so important. So not only simplifying, but also logistics in certain times of the year is more difficult, and having highway road access is incredibly important. We saw the same thing happen when the Russians ended up connecting. Was it? It was like the highway between Selidove and Pokrovsk, right, in Donetsk. This highway, the E50. Once they had
Oh yeah,
finally had it under full control, we basically saw this entire area just explode out of Selidove, right? So
Yeah,
the
there's a
highways
pretty
are
big
very, very
push
important.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, this is like a thing that's happened really forever. It's the Rasputitsa, which happens in the spring
Yeah.
and then in the autumn when it gets really rainy, and it's been the thorn in the side of every army that's tried to conquer Russia and the surrounding lands
Yep.
for pretty much all of history. So yeah, having paved roads is really important here.
It's huge. It's huge.
Hmm.
And then just in terms of Konstantinivka, the area that I think is most important is this fortification on this ring road right here. This is on the high ground. And once that falls, the Russians are just going to be looking down into Konstantinivka, which they're already entered on the northern end of the Krivitorets River. So remember, guys, Konstantinivka is kind of divided in half by a river that runs right in between it, and it's situated on the low ground in the river valley.
Yep.
All right. Moving over to Pokrovsk. This is probably the most important portion of the front right now, both in terms of the event that's happening, but also in terms of what will come after it. So right now, what we're looking at is Russian forces have basically captured all of Pokrovsk. There is still a few of these little areas which are within the regional administration of the city. So you can't say that Pokrovsk has been entirely captured yet because it hasn't. Ukrainians are still probably maintaining some positions in these dachas up here. But as you can see, the Russians are now pushing into the little intermediate towns in between Pokrovsk and Minhorod, Rivne in particular. We have had geolocations of Russian forces in this market area over here, and Russian sources are saying that the Russians are also in this facility right here. According to other maps and according to my sources, Russian forces have captured this fortification directly north of Rivne, which would mean that the entirety of the Minhorod salient is now in an actual encirclement. And that's what this orange polygon here represents, is the Russian advance, actually solidifying a physical encirclement of the Ukrainians. I made a post about this, and I specifically said that this area right here, from this road down to like these dacha area, so like 800 meters to 1,000 meters basically, might not have Russian soldiers present in it, just because there might not be viable positions along this road in this tree line to sit. I cannot confirm, I can nor confirm nor deny that there are Russians sitting here. But the key is Ukrainians are not able to leave because of the Russians just looking down this road from both ends and being able to hit anybody who comes across with FPVs. So this is now a physical encirclement. The Ukrainians have no means of escaping this unless they want to try to walk through a gauntlet here, which I would not advise.
Yeah, and I mean they've been. You should pull up the video. There's a really crazy video of like hundreds of Ukrainians just marching down the side of a tree line. Uh, Presumably in this area, I'm pretty sure it is. Uh, and I mean, I don't know exactly where. It could be at the bottom of the encirclement. It could be near the top. But there's a video of these Ukrainians, and they're just wandering, uh, presumably they're going to surrender or whatever. But we've already got a video of Russians securing a Ukrainian drone operator as prisoner in Pokrovsk.
Here, I can
Um,
bring those up.
yeah.
Keep
So
talking.
yeah. So I mean, just the fact that you've got a lot of pro-Ukrainians saying that the Russian the Russians aren't actually consolidated in Pokrovsk yet. We've got videos of them
Okay,
taking in prisoners in the north. I
so
mean,
here are the Russians disassembling Ukrainian fortifications, barbed wire, trying to open up the roads. There's one, two, three, four guys standing around a vehicle inside of, not looking particularly worried about getting hit by anything. So this is
do
an
you know like
interesting.
where about in Pokrovsk that is? Is that like the? Do you know whereabouts that is?
No, I haven't had time to geolocate it yet.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's probably south of the railroad.
Yeah, it looks like that. Like high-rise Southern District.
Yeah. And then the other one that I wanted to show. Hold on, let me do this. Let me go find it real fast. It was the I don't have the one of the guys marching because I haven't posted that. If you want to find that one for me and send it to me, but here is the UAV operator getting captured. So let me put that one up. Here we go. Here we go. And here you guys can see Russian soldiers in Pokrovsk moving forward. Still, again, they don't look like they're particularly concerned about what's going on around them. The video lags a little bit here on the Russian side, on the recording side of the video, but you can see the mouse is still moving. Apparently, the guy is somewhere in this area, in this building, and he ends up walking out and surrendering right here to the Russian forces. And it is claimed that that is a UAV operator.
Yeah, I just sent you the video of the Ukrainians marching.
Yeah. Okay, let me see.
But I mean, yeah, this must be the first real physical encirclement since I think even Mariupol. I think even Lysychansk and stuff. They were kind of the same as like every other sort of encirclement we've had. You know, they've been close to cutting off, and then the Ukrainians have like a chaotic withdrawal.
Does that look okay? Is it looking okay on the screen?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
You maybe want to start from the start.
Yeah. So here you can see the Ukrainians leaving Pokrovsk, not leaving Minharad, leaving Pokrovsk.
I wonder where that is. It shouldn't be too difficult to find it.
No, it shouldn't. I think it's kind of near Hershene to the east.
Maybe.
I think it is. I think they're leaving that little dacha area on the northern part of the city.
Yeah, it could be.
Because here's a road that you should be able to very easily find a paved road.
I think it is. I'm looking right now.
And by the way, you're seeing these guys retreat from the city of Pokrovsk, and you will see them begin to be targeted by artillery here.
Yeah.
You can see one artillery shell just fell over here in the field.
I mean, it's crazy to think that this could have all been perfectly avoided, by the way.
Could all have been what?
Avoided. You know, none of this had to have happened.
You can see them moving right here. Artillery is very close. These guys are under pressure to trying to retreat out of the city. This is not the choke point that I was referring to when I was talking about the encirclement of Minharad. This is Ukrainian forces leaving Pokrovsk. All right.
Wait, I think this is the same field where the Ukrainians landed in their helicopter.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
It looks like this road.
Yeah, it's the exact same field.
So just for everybody listening, it's not this encirclement that these guys are leaving from. This video is taken of Ukrainian soldiers leaving Pokrovsk, probably like this area up here, this northern Dacha area, this area that's now under Russian control, and walking out through these fields. Is it through this tree line right here?
No. It's
over here.
Go to the field where the Ukrainians landed in their helicopter.
Oh, down here.
Yeah. So it's actually them walking through. I think that one right there. I believe that's them. Yeah, I think it might be that one.
Out of the city. Yeah, that makes sense from this Dacha area then.
So it might be like a good few days older then, because I know that there is Russian presence and north or further along that road. So
up towards Hershene, both deep state.
Yeah.
Other maps have them up to this position here.
Yeah. So that will be maybe an older video.
Yeah. All right. Just for the Minharad Pokrovsk salient, Russian forces have advanced almost capturing all of Pokrovsk. They have also pushed deeper into southern Minharad, capturing this Terrakon here, this industrial waste heap, and tightening the overall salient. Most important with this advance here is that the Russians are getting very close to cutting off the bottom of the salient, Sukuyar and Lysivka, which I still have been hearing that there are Ukrainian troops maintaining positions here, which has just got to be the most depressing shit ever.
Dude, imagine one encirclement becoming two.
Yeah, well, imagine being at the bottom of the encirclement. You don't even get to be at the top in the safe part of the city. You're just sitting in trench line fortifications down here.
Yeah. I saw a video of Lysivka, and this was like 6 months ago. The place doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's all flat.
So I mean,
this has been the front line for the longest time. Since the Russians, remember the Russians came out of Novohordivka. That was like they captured this, and then they instantly started pushing out this way, and they never got past that. And they came all the way out here.
That was in September, October of last year.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, but look how much has happened in a year, dude.
Yeah. They just kind of shifted their focus south.
Yep. Which was, I think, smart because it was open.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the Ukrainians had, in that mini little collapse that they had there near Novogradivka, I guess they pulled all what troops they had to Pokrovsk, and the Russians didn't take that risk, so they just swung south, and then it's opened up, everything else,
which we're going to talk about right now. All right, moving over to the Dnipropetrovsk region, Novopavlivka. Russian forces have improved their positions within the city and have crossed the Salina River here, which is not good for the Ukrainians. I thought that they were going to maybe try to set up a defensive line along the river. It looks like the Russians just bypassed that. And they will now gain access to this highway, which leads to Mezova from the south. So this is very bad for this entire area. Do I have a river line here to show you guys? Yes, I do. So if you see here, this is the Salina River. This area is going to be incredibly difficult for the Ukrainians to maintain. And as you can see, the Russians have already improved their positions in Novopavlivka. But down here north of Deshane, they have also closed this small salient and have advanced towards this large fortification, which is located in a field.
Yeah. I mean, this area is also very important because once they capture Pokrovsk, that'll basically straighten out the front line from the Dobropilya direction all the way down to
like Zaporozhye almost.
That sort of like tip where they're advancing in between Zaporozhye and Dnipropetrovsk. It'll sort of straighten it out there, and they'll have a pretty, let me measure it quickly. A front line of around 100 kilometers. So like 60 miles, maybe. No, maybe less.
That's what I have. 50, 55.
All right. Yeah, so they'll have a front line of roughly 50 miles, 100 kilometers. That's pretty much straight, and they're just gonna push out from everywhere. Yep. And there's nothing behind this really. There's a few larger towns, but there's a lot of empty space in between.
But even these larger towns we're looking at out here, I mean, these are all towns that resemble places like Holyai where it's like it is a town, but it's like not connected. It's not built up. It's like a big town in a land of farm towns. Like,
yeah, it's basically just one of these small these small villages, but
like Propasnaya is more built up. Like this looks more like an actual town. It's not surrounded by much,
industrial
so it's
areas.
Be hard to defend, but it's actually built up.
Stuff.
Yeah, interesting. All right, moving down to the other Dnipropetrovsk push that the Russians are making. This one about to interdict the Pokrovsk Holyai front. Here, Russian forces have advanced towards Orestopol, which I believe that they have advanced along the Vorona River here. It just makes sense. This is the border. Deep State has the gray zone going up into this area, which is pretty good indicator that the Russians have allocated forces and have secured positions in this area. Moving over to the, I guess, Pokrovsk-Holyai-Polye highway area, Russian forces have actually made an advance. I'm sorry, Russian DRGs have been reported in the village of Pokrovsk. This has not been confirmed yet, so we are going to wait until that happens, but we have a potential Russian advance here. And I am going to update this because it did not save like it was supposed to. Thank you, Google Maps, for that. And I put Russian forces in the very, very bottom of Oleksandrivka, which is not too much, I don't think, in terms of consideration. If you're saying that Russian DRGs are in Pokrovsk, it's likely that they have not crossed the Vovocha River here, but rather that they're just considering Oleksandrivka part of Pokrovsk because it's all one basically town just divided by a river.
Yeah. It's kind of weird how this works. You know, these areas, like you hear like pretty stable advances, and then randomly we get some news from like a local Telegram channel, and there it's like the Dobropilia thing. We just randomly had this Dobropilia Telegram channel saying that the Russians were inside Dobropilia out of nowhere, and it just always happens like this. So who knows? It could go well for the Russians, which it probably will, because there's not much the Ukrainians could do.
Yeah, this area is much more open for the Russians than the Pokrovsk area or like the Konstantinivka area. The Ukrainians are reporting that they're having massive manpower issues in this area, and that's why the Russians are developing this so fast.
Yeah, and I mean, how many places they've crossed it in Ivanivka, Novopavlivka, and they're about to cross that river in about 4 places. So
yeah, they've crossed.
I mean,
you're talking about the
this
onshore?
is just like yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just gonna be such a broad front. I mean, we're gonna have an offensive, like a simultaneous offensive, going on for hundreds of kilometers now.
Yep. Basically all the way from Pokrovsk down to Holyai-Polye, basically.
Yeah,
that whole front.
I mean, this is these are like strategic offensives, really.
And then there's like no movement like here.
Yeah.
And
the front line's been there since like 2022, 23.
Yeah. All right. Last update on this section of the front. Russian forces have crossed the Yuntra River, captured the village of Yusepenivka, and have advanced into the village of Solodolke. This is very, very bad for the Ukrainians. This is terrible. I actually want to bring up the topographical map real fast.
Your favorite?
Yes, my favorite, because there is a very, very interesting aspect of this advance here. One that was very predictable if you know anything about how the Russians like to use geography to their advantage. Velika Novosilka, Pokrovsk, Holyai-Polye. Yeah, so right here on the northern section of you can see that the Russian forces have pushed out from the low ground onto the village of Solodolke. And now they are going to be able to, again, use this high ground and push down along the high ground and basically create a northern flank on this high ground for not only the village of Holyai-Polye, but all of these villages that run along the, sorry, too many rivers to remember, Hayachor River.
Where? Oh, there.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go back over to the map so I
can Hayachor,
what I'm talking about. This is that. So that box or that area, the high ground that I was talking about, is like this, and it goes right down here. And let's just do it that. So that is sort of the the high ground area that the Russians are going to want to push out into. That's why this advance is so important. It gets them onto this high ground. Once the Russians dominate the high ground, the defense of Holyai-Polye is going to be basically impossible. Logistics are not coming in from the west. They are only coming in from the north. And once that logistics line is cut, whether it won't be, it's not coming from like Pokrovsk necessarily. They'll use some of these back roads and then connect with the highway and then get logistics down to Holyai-Polye. But once the Russians push out onto this high ground, they will have fire control over that highway. Holyai-Polye will be quick to fall.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much else to say about this direction. It's fairly predictable. And actually, there's already been rumors that the Russians have captured Novoizbenivsky and Nove. Did you say that? I don't know. But yeah, the Russians
Novoizbenivka and Nove?
And Nove. Yeah, there was rumors that they already captured that using satellite imagery.
Yeah.
Looking at like the shelling patterns and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, for all we know, this front could be delayed by like a week.
Yeah,
information
the situation
just gets out.
Yeah, the situation could just be disastrous here.
Yeah, information obviously gets handed out in a delayed manner. So who knows? I mean, the Russians like their information warfare, so.
Yeah, man. They like to keep secrets until it's not a secret anymore. All right, last update, and this one's kind of a big update, kind of a crazy update here. Russian forces have advanced along the Novokharkovka reservoir here, which is, if you guys zoom out, you can see is like a swampy, dry, flatbed, former lake bed, basically. So it's not like they're following the water line here up, but we don't see any activity from either side in this area. So we just assume that it's kind of like a dead space, just like if there was water there. But in the advance itself, Russian forces have advanced along these dachas all the way up to the village of Primorske, which is a pretty significant advance for a part of the map where we don't usually see the Russians advancing at all, let alone this quickly.
Definitely. And I mean, the depth to which they've advanced is pretty insane. It reminds me of like a few months ago when they captured Kamyansky. They kind of pushed into Plavny, and then so they bypassed the main town, and then the Ukrainians were forced to withdraw. So I think that might be what's happening here. But also, apparently, there's a gray zone in the town north of this advancement. Malo Katarinivka. It's north of Primorsky.
Right here?
Yeah, so apparently there's also a gray zone in there. So,
and that makes sense because if we zoom out, remember, there is no water there. So if the Russians just kept walking this way, they would be able to enter that town pretty easily.
Yeah. So this area could develop fast into another direction that you'll want to keep watching. Similar to Pokrovsk or Dnipropetrovsk, but it could also just stop suddenly. So
yeah, you
don't want to put too much trust into these sudden advances.
Yeah, there's just not a ton of emphasis on this entire line here. This every time I see an advance over here, I always think it's because of Ukrainian weakness and not like a Russian objective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just pushing because they've recognized that this area is just like somewhere they can do so without, any sort of high casualties.
Yeah, and you don't need, it doesn't require a lot of staging. It's just a few infantrymen that are getting sent up every time, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. So it's not like a big mechanized push. It's not. It's just low risk, and then it's yielding results. And from what I've heard now I can't remember. I sent you a message, but you said Zaporozhye like you were confused. I thought they were talking about UAV operators being sent to this area.
Mm,
Do you remember that, or was it a different town with a similar name?
yes, I think that was the right place. Let me
Okay.
see.
So
Yeah, yeah.
that's really
Apparently,
bad if Ukraine is sending UAV operators, which are desperately needed in areas of the front like this, to this area to defend this push, which is, in my personal opinion, sort of meaningless to the overall direction this war is going. Anytime the Ukrainians are allocating resources to Kherson, Zaporozhia, Sumy region, or Kharkov, I always just think that the Ukrainians are being duped because those areas are not vital to the entirety of the war. If the Russians capture Merne, or let's go over to Kharkov. If the Russians capture like Vesele, and they capture Ukrinka here, and they capture some of these, like, it doesn't change the war. Like, the Russians are not going to be able to push into Kharkov after that. Kharkov is a huge city that the Ukrainians will be able to defend. So anytime the Ukrainians are forced to expend resources on the periphery, I always think that that is better for the Russians, who are, staring down the barrel of this encirclement, that they have to deal with. They don't want UAV teams being sent to Shevchenko to help D-block and hurt more Russians here. Sending UAV teams to this location in Zaporozhia, to me, feels like a complete waste of valuable resources that need to be expended over here.
yeah. But I guess it could also, if it's true, it could also hint at, maybe the Russians are planning something and it is serious enough that they're going to need to divert resources to
Well,
here. But
they obviously consider it serious enough to divert
hmm
UAV operators. So I mean, the Ukrainian
yeah,
assessment of this region is that something's going wrong here, and they need to adjust and fix it. But again, it just seems so disconnected from
I
where
doubt it.
everything is happening that I don't know.
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
Right?
Um, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, you could talk about the possible. No, I think you were keeping that Kupiansk
Yes,
news.
I was keeping that
Yeah,
for the next episode because we don't have evidence of it yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Alex, for joining me. This has been the November 6th, 2025 Calibrated Ukraine battle map update. Thank you once again, Alex, for joining me. Sorry, guys, that he doesn't have his Twitter account set up the way he wants to begin sharing content and doing stuff like that. Maybe he will do that in the future, and I will let you guys know. Alex, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
No, not really.
No, none?
Yeah, I mean, I already said everything that
Yeah, I
needs
mean,
to
we've
be
been
said,
talking for almost
really.
40 minutes now, so.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if you are new here, please click that subscribe button. Make sure you guys click that bell so you get notified whenever I post videos. And be sure to like the video and leave a comment if you enjoyed it. It's the easiest way to support me. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Alex, once again. Goodbye. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I should be doing a live stream either tomorrow or Saturday, so be sure to tune into that. Thank you, guys. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your week.